Louisiana Lawsuit Abuse Watch is a bipartisan, nonprofit citizen watchdog group. We're dedicated to improving the state's legal environment for Louisiana families and businesses. We're announcing the results of a statewide poll which found that voters overwhelmingly support the need for legal reform in Louisiana.
I'm Jim Harris, here on behalf of the Coalition for Common Sense, which is a group established to work toward improvement of the business climate in Louisiana, especially in the area of civil justice reform. The group is comprised of 27 professional associations, along with companies and individuals committed to passing legislation that assures a fair legal climate in the state. With me is Melissa Landry, the Executive Director of Louisiana Lawsuit Abuse Watch, which is a nonpartisan, nonprofit citizens watchdog group dedicated to stopping lawsuit abuse that hurts Louisiana families and threatens jobs and businesses. We've asked you here today to share with you results of a new statewide poll commissioned by the two groups. The poll was conducted by Southern Media and Opinion Research, and the company's president, Buster McKenzie, will briefly present findings from that poll. Buster?
I'm Buster McKenzie with Southern Media and Opinion Research, and I'm here today to present some of the findings from a statewide poll that we recently conducted at the end of July. Our objectives on this poll were to get Louisiana voters' opinions about conditions in the state and also their views on lawsuit abuse. We find out the availability of jobs is viewed as one of the major problems facing people in Louisiana. What's also interesting is lawsuit abuse was the second highest rate problem of the items that we tested. The very item at the bottom, the number of lawsuits filed, even though it shows up as bottom as far as the lowest percent of major minor problem combined, but we also see there's a high degree of intensity. We have a lot of people that view it as a very serious problem. This perception of lawsuit abuse as a problem is also reflected in the fact that over 2/3 of the voters we interviewed felt like there are too many lawsuits in Louisiana. Doesn't mean 1/3 felt like there were too few. We only find out about 14% said it's about the right amount, and only 4% said there's not enough. So clearly voters understand and they see the fact that there are way too many lawsuits being filed in Louisiana.
Earlier this year, there was a study done by a national organization which found that Louisiana has the second highest automobile insurance rates in the country, and a large part of the reason for that is Louisiana's negative legal climate. For the past several years, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce has released the results of its national survey of over 500 major employers, which has found consistently over the last 8 years that Louisiana has one of the worst legal climates in the country.
We are an oil and gas producer here in Louisiana. We operate in about 30 oil fields here in Louisiana, across the state from North Louisiana to South Louisiana, both east and west. We buy old oil fields that have become uneconomic by traditional production methods. These oil fields are 50 and 60 years old, and we put them back on and produce them for another 30 and 40 years. We get more oil that's left in there, out of there.
How have these lawsuits impacted your business?
Lord have mercy. It is in Louisiana, because this is the only place that we have these type lawsuits in Louisiana. It's all I've been doing for the last 2.5 years between testifying and getting experts and hiring defense lawyers and so forth, and having our people in the field do testing and things for these lawsuits. It's severely impacted. As a matter of fact, since these lawsuits have started, we have not bought an additional oil field in the state of Louisiana, despite opportunity to do so, because we can no longer afford to give an indemnity to people we buy from for this type of lawsuit.
Can you think of an example of just how the lawsuit abuse has affected your business?
Yes, I can. We in one particular oil field, the lawsuit for legacy out there was the plaintiffs had it costing over $700 million to remediate the field. Our job was to remediate the field as the operator of record, and we did that. The cost of that was less than $400,000, but we were faced with $700 million worth of potential costs, according to the plaintiffs. These types of numbers will chill you from having to defend and go to court and so forth, and that's and the cost of me defending that lawsuit was in the $800,000 range for defense lawyers and expert fees. I've got another lawsuit that we took to trial here in Louisiana that we won. We got a 0 verdict at trial first one in the state of Louisiana in legacy lawsuits. The cost of that was close to $700,000 in expert fees and legal defense costs. And I was one of 5 defendants, so there was other money spent out there besides mine.
What other states do you do business in, and is the lawsuit situation the same in those other states?
I do business in Mississippi, Arkansas, Texas, and New Mexico, in addition to Louisiana, and I've never seen one of these suits in any of them.
How has the lawsuit situation in Louisiana affected your company's ability to create new jobs?
Well, when you're not buying oil fields, you're not hiring anybody. When we buy a new oil field, we hire people directly to operate that oil field for us. In addition, the services that you use, including workover rigs and cement companies and so forth like that, that creates jobs because they are needed to work on the wells that we buy. Directly, though, we are not hiring anybody because we're not buying oil fields.
Well, I'm president of Monroe Rubber and Gasket Company. Have a total of about 25 employees between 2 stores. We do a lot of industrial type supplies to the paper and chemical industry, gasketing, pumps, hose, various amounts of different industrial supplies.
How has your business been affected by these lawsuits?
Well, first and foremost, when I first started receiving these back in 2002, I've spent numerous amount of time on the road defending these, and now with 104 lawsuits total over time with 2,300 plaintiffs, it's caused me to quit growing a store that I have in El Dorado, Arkansas, based on not knowing what's going to happen with this. If I get pulled into one of these and actually have a verdict against me, it's going to cause me to have to shut the doors on 2 businesses and go home. And I'm kind of on a grassroots campaign, Washington, Louisiana, trying to make awareness or bring awareness to what's happening to small business. And it's not just me; it's a lot of companies across the states as well as in Louisiana. We never manufactured any type of asbestos whatsoever. It's just that all of the trial attorneys have basically the manufacturers have gone out of business, filed bankruptcy, or closed their doors, and we're just the next tier of companies that they're pulling through the vacuum for their own agenda. And it's going to hurt or close a lot of businesses in Louisiana if they don't get something done quick.
What would you like to see happen?
Well, I would like to see something passed either statewide or on a federal level that protects companies like myself that's never manufactured asbestos. I've not made anybody sick. I simply, like I said, sold a product to an end user who asked for it by name and bought it from the manufacturer. There was never a time I manufactured asbestos. So what I'd like to see done is some type of law passed that would protect companies like myself that are not responsible for these people because I've never made anybody sick.
What would happen to the employees if you were to lose one of these lawsuits?
Well, with the type verdicts they're handing out, if I get pulled into one of these and lose one, and I get hit with a $1 million or $2 or $3 million lawsuit based on what they feel like my involvement was, it would cause me to go back, lock the doors, and go home because I don't have that kind of money. I'm a small company, and we don't have the deep pockets to pay for this stuff.
Some people will tell you that lawsuit abuse is not a real problem here in Louisiana, but what we are demonstrating through these poll results and through these small business owners, and there are thousands more like them all over the state, is that this is a real problem. We are working to reform the state's legal environment so that businesses can have, it can be easier for businesses to operate in the state and to create jobs. Our goal here today in releasing these poll results is we want candidates who are running for office this fall and those who were elected to the legislature without opposition. We want them to hear the voices of voters loud and clear that voters in Louisiana want legal reform and they want it now.
If people have questions or like more information, what should they do?
Absolutely. They can visit our website, which is www.law.org. They can also find us on Facebook or on Twitter. The most important thing that they can do is to get to know the candidates who are running for office in their district, find out who those people are, where they stand on the need for legal reform, who's contributing to their campaigns, and to make sure that their candidates know that they care about the need for legal reform, and that when they come up to Baton Rouge next spring, that they come with a clear vision and mission to help us improve the state's legal environment.